Hello everyone, welcome back to Apex Hours. This is Amit, and in this, we are in day 9 of our Flow Builder series. In this video, we are going to talk about a very important concept related to flows, which is how we can use components, which can be either our LWC or Aura inside our Flow Builder. So there are many scenarios where we have to use Lightning components or Lightning Web components. One of and two of them are is like a rich text area field, as we know that flow builder doesn't support rich text area so far, and lightning data table is also one thing that we don't have inside our flow builder. So in this video we are mainly going to focus on how we can have a component which is going to act as a rich text area, and then we will also see the demo for lightning data table, but we are not going to actually work with this lightning data table. So without making any further delay, let's quickly start with the development of our component that we have. Before we go ahead and actually start the development, the scenario that here we are going to implement is we have created a field, a rich text area field inside our opportunity named as description. And what we will do is we'll develop a flow, which will say that quick opportunity, where we will be using that rich text area component to see how we can use or how we can get that content and store into that particular field. So as discussed, first we'll talk about the component, because we have already talked about that there will be a lightning component. Why we are using lightning component for the demo, not lightning web component? The reason is that lightning component is easy to set up and easy to show you here, because for LWC we have to do a lot more setups like Visual Studio Code, Salesforce CLI, and some other softwares or some other plugins related to VS Code. That's why we have chosen Aura for this component for this demo, and we have a link where we have actually established or implemented the same concept using LWC. So we will provide you the link, and then you can also practice from you can get the code and you can practice from there as well. So the very first thing that we need to do is create a lightning aura component. As an admin, either you can create this, or you can also ask one of the developer to create a lightning aura component which is visible for lightning flows. That is the one key thing that you need to remember while you ask or while you develop that flow. Not flow, the component. You need to say that that component must be visible to your lightning flows. So to do that, what you will do is you just click on, like, you will be there in the developer console. You will just go there in the setup and say developer console. And once you are here, click on file, click on new, and then lightning component. Just give the name whatever you wanted to have. Say that you wanted to give rich text area component. Okay. You just need to provide this value and click on submit. Once you have submitted, this is how your component is going to look like. Now, one thing, the very first thing that you need to do is you need to make this component visible for flows. So what you have to do is you have to talk about implements, and then here you have some interface which are provided by Salesforce itself for Aura framework. So you have to say lightning colon available for flow screens. So this is what you have. So you, like, this is what I have implemented, and that's what you have got it. Then you need to make sure that you are setting the access to global so that you can access this component inside your flow builder. Now this is a blank component. It has nothing. What we wanted to get here is lightning rich text input. Okay. So for that, what you can do is just go to Google and search for component library. So once you search for component library, the first or the second link that you will get is related to Salesforce component library. So just select that component. And once you have selected that component, sorry, the link, it is going to open this, and you can search here for input text. Okay. Or instead of input text, you can search for rich text. So we are working with Aura. So you need to find Aura and say that input rich text. Okay. So now here, if you see input rich text, sorry, input rich text, you have got, this is how your output is going to look like. Either you wanted to see on the top or you wanted to see this toolbar on the bottom. These are the key thing. Now here, if we talk about what we need, whatever we type, that means the value we need. So what we will have is we need to have a create a variable inside or a component. So for that, we have this variable. We say that we have to create aura colon attribute, and you need to give the name. You can have of name anything, whatever you want. I'll say that value, and you need to have the type. It is going to have a type of a string, and then you can have access equal to global or public or private. You can have, so say that you might want it to have the global. This is one thing. Then you might want it to display the label of your rich text area component. So you have to have one more attribute for label. So we have got this label type of string. Okay. Then you might have some sort of say that either that rich text area is required or not. If it is a required, it is going to be a type of boolean. Okay. And then you might have some sort of placeholder. So you can have a placeholder. So these are all the variables that you might have. Okay. We have got like 4 variables over here. Then you all need to have these 4 variables to make sure that these variables are available. Okay. These variables are available to the flow builders. So how we will make those variable available? We need to, you can see here, number 7, it is saying that design. So if you click here, it is going to give you the blank design component. Okay. So if we see here, we have got these variables that we have, which is say that label value required and placeholder. We want these variables to be visible to the flow builder. We went to design attributes. What we said is all the variables that we have, we say that design instead of aura, we say that design. Because if you see the top component itself start with design. In the component, it starts with aura. So we say that design colon attribute name is going to be the same name that you have used in your aura here. It is going to be label. It cannot be label 1 or label 2. You will get the error. So make sure that this name is same, and then this label can be anything. And this label will be displayed to the user on the Lightning flow builder that you are using. So we have all these 4 components over here. Then what we have is we have used a handler, which is basically going to work as whenever a component is loaded, this method is being called. And then there is one more attribute that we have used is aura colon attribute. Name is going to be validate. It will be a kind of validate. Type is always going to be aura action. And what is this variable is going to be used for? So this variable is basically for validating the input. So if you say that your rich text area is required of type required, that means there must be a value. So when user click on next button on the flow builder, it should validate and throw the error. So for this, we have used a do init method. Again, this might be not understandable to you as an admin if you don't have knowledge. So you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to put much effort. Just copy paste, and this is going to work as what you need. And this is basically here what we have. We say that component dot set validate, and we have set a function over here. This is a function which is getting the value of whatever the variable we have, and it says if it has some value, then is valid is is valid is true. That means there is no error. If there is not no value, and then we said if the required is true, then we say that a value is required for this field. Okay, that's what we have. That is how we need to set this. And then if you go to design attribute, there is one more thing that we have is label. So whatever label you will provide here, that's what you will be able to see on the flow builder. So this is something which is very easy. We say that just to get the component there in the in our flow builder. Okay, now what we have here is we have created a flow called quick opportunity flow. This is having one screen element and one create record element. Okay, In the screen element, what we have is we have a name for opportunity, lookup for account, then picklist value for stays, then currency for our amount, and then we have got rich text component. Okay. If you wanted to have this rich text component in a separate screen, you can have that in a separate screen as well. And then what we have here, as soon as we selected rich text component, it is asking the label. This is the label that we are sending from our lightning component. So if you see here, go to the design attribute. These are the label, value, required, and placeholder. So we don't see placeholder because we have to remove this. Sorry, we have to refresh this component to see the updated flow and then see the updated code from our Aura component. So we'll come back to here to the screen. We'll select this text component. Then you will see placeholder. So we'll say that enter some description. Okay. That's what we have as a placeholder. Then we say that, okay, required is going to be true. And then value is, we have created a variable of type string, and then we have put that value inside that variable. Even if you don't want, that doesn't needed, you can access that variable with the help of this value attribute that we are exposing over here. So this is how you access. And if you go to the lightning rich text area, sorry, component, here, this is your rich text area, which says that what is going to be the value. We are binding with whatever the value we have. Then it is going to be either required or not. What is placeholder, label we wanted to show, what is going to be the variant we wanted to see on the bottom, and then what is going to be the label. Then to insert the image, we have used lightning colon insert image button. This is a simple component. Now, then what we have, once we have got everything, we have a create record element, which is again mapping the fields. And this is the new field which you have created, which is a description field. Now to get the value, how you will do this, you can search for either your rich text component, okay, or what you can use is description value, the variable that you have created. Suppose you wanted to use your rich text component, select that, and you will see all the four variables which are basically exposed from the lightning Aura component. Select value, because this is what is going to hold the value of your whatever you are typing inside the rich text area. Either you are using any sort of images. Click on done. Then again, as a always, we are going to add a fault path, and then we might need to have some sort of actions, say that chatter notification or something, because that has been the favorite action so far for our demo. So we can have the chatter notification. We say that error, whatever we want. We don't actually want it to have, so we say that whatever we have. Okay, now we wanted to have this kind of basically this flow accessible from our lightning record page of the account object. So for that, to get the record ID of our account, as we all know how to get that, we have created a variable called record ID. Where is that? Here you can see we have created a variable record ID of type text, which is available for input, so that we can read the ID from the account record, and then we can create the opportunity over there. So we will just go ahead and save that. And before actually we go ahead and do the like activation of the flow, as a best practice, we'll always test the flow. So it is saying that, okay, we have got, we say record ID is, this is going to be account record ID. We'll go ahead, and here we can have, so for example, say that I have got opportunity with rich text. Okay, amount is can be anything, whatever the number we wanted to have, and we don't want it to provide anything. Okay, so for now, if you click on next, it is saying that a value is required, because this field is required. That's why we are saying that's required is the red sign. Now if you wanted to say that this is, we say that this is simple text, and then we wanted to have some image over here. Suppose that we wanted to image over here something, whatever we have, say export is ready. So we have got this image over here, right? So now if I say go ahead and click on next, it has created an opportunity. Okay, there was some error. Okay, what we got is there was some error, so it did went to the post chatter and then it posted and we got here. Okay, error record is there, the message that we have posted. And if you see here, the what the message it is saying is recall field missing close date. That means we have forget to use the close date of our opportunity. So what we will do is we'll go to the screen component and we will add one more date component, which is going to be date, and it can be anywhere, and we'll say that close date, make it as required, and then click on done. Then into the create record, we need to map that field. So we'll say that, okay, it is going to be the close date. And then what we say that it is going to be there, the variable that we have used. Okay. And then for our post chatter as well, for message, what we can use is we can use flow dot fault message. So whatever the error is there, we can use that and then click on done and save it. Once you have saved it, you again need to go ahead and debug the flow so that we can make sure our flow is working fine. So this time we are creating the opportunity salesforce.org. We are giving whatever the close date we wanted to have, some sort of image, and this is the simple text. And once we have got this simple text, we are just going to get the image again, whatever we have uploaded previously. And once we'll get that image over here, we'll just go ahead, click on next. This time, if there is any error, we'll get the error. Now, if you see on the left-hand side itself, you can see whatever the value that you have provided. And this is the account, and this is basically the opportunity that we have created. So if you go to the record detail page and replace the ID, the account ID with your opportunity ID, it is going to navigate and open the opportunity ID for you, where you will see that this is the opportunity record. And if you go to the detail page, under the detail page, the description field, you can see this is here and we are able to get it working fine. So that is how you use a lightning rich text area field inside a flow builder with the help of your lightning aura component. Now similarly here, if you remember, what we had is in the previous videos we talked about, whenever we are creating an opportunity, we need to have a contact associated with that opportunity, which was working as contact role. So if you go here to the opportunity and we go to the related records, and this contact role is blank, right? There is no contact role. So if we consider that requirement, say that whatever the account we are creating the opportunity, what we need to have is we need to associate the contact related to that, any one contact related to that account under the opportunity. So how we can have is, for that what we can have is we can have a data table where we display the list of all the contact records related to that account, and then user can select one record, and then based on that selected record we can create one more, which is basically saying opportunity contact role. For that, again, I have a component which is data table component. I can just show here. Okay, let me show you data table. Okay, I think it is contact data table. So I have got one component which is again having some sort of attributes, some sort of values. So I'll just quickly walk you through what it has basically. This component is also visible for lightning flows. Yeah. Then it has one FS class, which is just having one method, which is aura enable, and saying that, okay, get contacts related to whatever record ID we have. So that record ID is basically our account ID. So what we say that ID, name, phone, and email from contact, where account ID is whatever we are passing from the our lightning component. And these variables are basically to have the data table like data and columns, then what is the selected rows, how many row we can select it maximum, and what is the record ID. Okay, then this is the data table basically that we are going to display, and this you are already aware about basically having a validation, and this is going to call the method, the apex class method, to get the list of all the contacts. Then we have got this design attribute which says that expose this record ID, selected rows, and maximum row selection. So maximum row selection is what are the number of maximum records that we can select, then what records has been selected by the user, and then the account record ID. Okay, and if we talk about the controller, in the do init we have got one method, and then there is one more method which is get selected record. So whenever user will select any record, we are going to call this method, and we will have whatever the user has selected inside a variable called selected rows, and this variable is being exposed to the flow builder where we can get that value. And then here what we have is we are setting the validation that user must need to select at least one record. Okay, and then what we have is we are setting the columns so that we can display the data in the form of table. And then if you go to the helper, this is basically doing nothing. It is calling the apex class and passing the account record ID, whatever we are getting from the flow builder. So that is very easy. The basically, if you are an admin and you have never worked with code, this might looks like you some sort of say that the toughest thing that you are going to do. But again, these kind of utilities can be developed by your developers. You don't need to worry about that. And if you are admin, you can also go ahead and do your hands dirty, like make your hands dirty and learn the flows with the Lightning Web Component or a component. So if you go to the flow builder again, once you have got this contact information, you need to have the contact roles. So you can say screen, and we will say, okay, it is going to be the contact roles. And then what you have is, if you just go to the custom right here, you will see whatever you have. So you have got rich text area component, which is the second component we created. This is our actual component. And then there is one more component which says that lightning data table. So just go ahead and drag and drop over here, and we will name it as roles. Account ID, from where we will get is, we'll say that record ID, whatever we are getting from the record. Maximum number of records to be selected, I will say only one. What are the selected rows? We are not going to provide the selected rows over here. Okay, because these selected rows, if you see, provide the value comma separated. These are the selected rows which we are going to get, or we are going to return to the user in the flow builder. Basically not the user, to the flow, so that we can access those values. Okay, we have got this at the second. Now what we can have here is we can just have a screen element, and we will say that output element, output screen. Why we are using this? Because just to see exactly what sort of data we are getting. So we can have a display text over here, and under the display text we can have two things. Let's say that outcome, and we can display our rich text over here. So with that rich text dot rich text, whatever we have, rich text dot value. Okay, this is the one thing that we wanted to have. And then second thing that we wanted to have is, we'll say that selected record. Okay, and then we will get from where we'll get roles was our data table. Okay, contact data table name. So we will say that roles, and then what we will say, okay, roles dot selected rows. This is what we need to select, you need to get for getting the selected rows information, and click on done. Once you have got these, what you can have is, you can just go there into the uh, after creating that opportunity, you can have create record, and you can say that create opportunity contact role. Okay, so you have this, you are going to have the separate value. So we'll say that contact role, and opportunity contact role is going to be the value. So we will say opportunity ID, this is going to be the one. Then there was going to be one field contact ID. Then there is going to be one field role and is primary. Okay. Now opportunity ID will get from where we will get? We will get that ID from the create record. So we'll just go here, and where is that create record? So we got this opportunity ID from create opportunity record. We'll select that. Then contact ID from where we will get, we have got the selected rows. So from where we got roles, and then we got selected rows. Okay. Then what is going to be role? We'll say that decision maker, and is primary. We'll make sure that it is a primary contact as a true, and then save it. Again, if you have some sort of fault, so you can have a fault path, and then again our favorite action, which is post to chatter, and we are going to have post to chatter for contact role. And then what message we are going to have here is flow, the fault message. Okay. And here before we will say that error while creating contact role. Now where we wanted to have is, we wanted to have inside opportunity ID. So inside that opportunity, so we'll select opportunity ID from create opportunity record and click on done. So you have got this flow. Okay. Now you can just go ahead and save it in order to make sure that you have saved the progress, and then we can just go ahead and debug it. So we have to get the account ID. So we'll just get that account ID from here, and we say, okay, we got this here. So we will say that salesforce.com this time, because we're just changing the name. That's it. We'll say whatever qualification amount is what can be, and then we'll say that okay, we'll say that simple description. Okay, this time we are not going to use any images, but we are going to do few more things. We'll say that, okay, size is going to be this. We are also going to make it bold, italic, stroke, whatever we have. We can have multiple things over here, right? I'm sorry, this is what we have got. Then we can just go ahead and click on next, and you have got this list of all the contacts, right? That is what where our data table component is. And if you click on next without selecting it, you will get the error, a value is required, because you must need to select one. So we'll select James Bond is the contact which we are going to select. We'll click on next. Now we have got selected rows, we have got the description, and if you click on next, you can see here what we have got. If you scroll down on the top, we got the screen element where we have got the it is set contract information, but it is actually the opportunity information. We have got everything. Then we have got lightning component for description, and this is what we have got the value. Then we have got a screen component, which is say that component is data table component, and we got this is the selected value. Then this is our output screen, and this is where we created the opportunity, and we got opportunity ID, and then we also got opportunity contact role. So if you get back to the record over here, replace the ID, you will be able to get that opportunity ID. In the meantime, you can just go ahead and activate this. Once you have activated this flow, you can just get back, see your opportunity stage is qualification that you have selected. There is a task which has been created because of our amount criteria, that is the previous flows that we have worked. Then if we talk about details, first let's talk about what all we have. We've got every single thing, whatever we have provided. Then if you go to the related contact, and under contact roles, you have got this James Bond is associated with that account. Sorry, with that opportunity. So there can be multiple other use cases where instead of selecting one, you might wanted to select, say that 10 records, and then you can have those 10 records associated with that contact, with that opportunity as a contact role. You can also have that. Now, after that, what we have is what we usually do is create a button, and then add that button inside the contact or opportunity or account layout. Okay, so this is where we are going to use is account layout. So we have basically used into our we have created the button, and we have added inside the account, and this is our button, which is quick opportunity flow. So we'll come back here and we will be running that flow, and we will be able to see the same screen that we have given. Whatever we want, we can just do it from here now. So this is it for this video, and this is how actually you can get the, like, you can use lightning aura component inside the flow builder. If you wanted to see how you can use lightning LWC component inside flow builder, you can navigate to my website, which is sfdcpanther.com, and in the search box you can search for rich text, because this is the concept which we have implemented inside our uh, LWC. So you will see here out how to create rich text area in a field in a flow. If you open this, you will be able to see the step-by-step guide on how to use a lightning web component inside a flow builder, and you will be able to get every single information over here about each and every element or the variables that you have used along with the code. So if you wanted to get the code related to these components, we'll definitely going to provide you the code as well for your help, so that you can get these and you can also set up all these for your Salesforce environment. Before you go ahead, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe the channel Epic House, and we'll meet you in the next video where we'll talk about some other concept related to flows. Thank you.